Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to, well, 3 separate games of StarCraft 2. I think that's the best way to introduce this. It's a best of 2 series followed by another match. But these two, they've recently played against each other in 3 separate games during the WTL playoffs. Now first off, in the top right hand corner, on good old Dynasty. This is a map that doesn't really come up all too often. Generally speaking, it's fine for this matchup, but pro gamers don't really love playing on it. With the blue Protoss pieces in the top right hand corner, we have none other than Hero, widely considered to be the very best Protoss player in the world. His opponent, down in the bottom left, playing with the red Terran SCVs, he represents Team Liquid. He plays, of course, well, from France. We're looking at none other than Clem's main command center, and Clem, as you are probably aware by now, is the new World Champion of StarCraft 2. I know! Isn't that nice? So, they played a couple of times recently, and apparently, yeah, they played some banger games. So I'm excited to find out exactly what ended up going down. That being said, I haven't really seen Clem lose all too often. He's lost a couple of games against Raynor, but that's really about it. He doesn't really seem to be losing to anybody else. Terran versus Terran, he's looking dominant. Terran versus Protoss, he's looking amazing. And honestly, in TVZ, he's also looking ridiculously good. It just seems that Raynor may just have his number a little bit, but yeah, I also do feel like some of the strategies that we that we see coming out of Raynor may just be some that Clem hasn't really played against. Anyways, there's no Zerg in this game, so that'll be nice, I think, for the Terran player. We have a Protoss, though, going for the gold base on the wrong side. Well, generally speaking, it's... I feel like this map in general is quite uncommon. And whenever we do see it, Protoss players do enjoy going for the expansion on this side instead. The main problem is that if you have a Nexus right over here and you're mining with a bunch of probes right over here, the opponent can obviously harass this from the left side of the mineral field, right? So the problem that you run into as Protoss is that literally every single unit that Clem can make is a ranged unit. Other than, I guess, the SCV, but he's not going to be attacking you with SCVs, I don't think. Everything else he can make is going to be good at ranged. So Cyclones are really dangerous, Hellions are really annoying, even Reapers can be an absolute pain in the butt. So somehow, some way, the safest way to take this gold base early seems to be to take it on the quote-unquote wrong side, even though it does make it, well, probably a little bit better. Okay. We have a little bit of a dance back and forth, but ultimately, this Reaper is going to get denied. We will see a recall of about half the probes. They are going to be heading on over towards those golden minerals too. Instant saturation right there of the rich Vespian gas geyser. And that means that, well, Hero's economy is going to be booming. Now this is going to put a little bit of heat, though, underneath the Terran, right? Like, you need to get something done. You can't really just play against this and give this... well, you could. But if you give the Protoss player that gold base with the rich gas geyser, any attack that's going to come out of Protoss, especially somebody like Hero who likes to be in your face, any attack from players like that are going to hit a little bit harder. So either you're super confident in your own base defense, or of course you take the golden minerals yourself. Clem so far has decided that he doesn't really care. He's looking around. Hero, that is. He's going to start planting a pylon. Fair enough. Does he know? Okay, now he doesn't have any vision on this side of the map, so there could be that weird moment sometimes where maybe he assumes that the opponent took the gold base, but he hasn't. Anyways, he's gonna still be able to blink across. That being said, though, Clem has decided to make use of this split base situation here, and he just drives everything that he's got straight into the main base of the Protoss player. I mean, that is one way to even up the economy. Nice warp in over here, but once more! Oh my god! Okay. I haven't seen that many probes go down in one... That was insane, actually. That usually doesn't happen anymore in 2024. That is something that happened pretty much every single game back in Wings of Liberty, but that is a major mistake right there from Hero. Accidentally clumping up all of those probes. Well, it takes 3 Hellions to shoot simultaneously to kill all of those workers, and obviously he had more than enough there. That was an insane bit of value that Hero, or that Clem just got off of his early game harassment units. I don't think you can really hope for much more than that. Now there is a Liberator up north. It's ready to start harassing this. In the meantime, Blink, it's finishing up. So I think Hero is likely gonna go for an all-in. The question is, does he have enough, Clem that is, to actually defend here at home? A little bit of sloppiness once again. He's busy dealing with the Liberator, killing 5 probes right now, is Clem. This is not looking good at all for the South Korean Protoss. This is absolute domination here from Clem, and he's making Hero look a little silly so far. Alright, now the Stalkers are going over the mineral field into the main base. That siege tank is going to cover as far as those dotted lines go, so he's not going to be able to cover the entire main. Lip in the meantime in the main base. Alright, is going to be able to get an extra Stalker kill before ultimately going down. Again, it's mostly because, well, the Protoss was busy microing at home. 2 SCVs, or on the other side of the map rather, at the home of the Terran. 2 SCVs going down is nothing to write home about. All of the siege tanks, I believe, are still around 2. Yeah. So this is... he needs to do a lot more. Alright, Hero. This is about the worst start you can have against a top-tier Terran player. But maybe this can work out a little bit better. There was another Liberator over here being annoying. Hero did pull the probes against that, and he's now finally able to focus on the micro that he's been wanting to do this entire time, and he is getting a lot of damage in. But this is still rather sloppy. 26 probes. 9 SCVs though is, yeah, 11 SCVs in total is pretty decent. 9 SCVs in that most recent attack. He did get a siege tank, but 7 Stalkers also feels like more Stalkers than he should have lost. Like maybe 3 or 4 is fine, 7 does feel like a lot. Okay, so we're talking 23 workers for Protoss versus 41 for Terran. That's not even taking into consideration the mule situation yet. This should result in a timing attack from Clem that is going to be practically impossible to hold. The good old mining machines themselves. They're going to be returning about as much money here as Hero is mining in total. The mules are super powerful here. Yeah, there's nothing you can do over here at the front. Nothing you can do in the main base anymore. We're gonna have to make some decisions. I think the real scary attack will come as soon as Terran finishes up these 3 upgrades that are on the right side of the production tab right now. So, combat shields and +1. They're gonna be a while until they're finished. He's gonna maybe get the Raven. Not quite. Raven manages to sneak away. I think Hero is feeling the pressure. He realizes that he needs to get something done. And killing Stimpak? Alright, that's the beginning of something nice. We do see Clem immediately canceling the combat shields to go in favor of Stimpak in that tech lab instead. I mean, that's gonna buy Hero about a minute. Keep in mind that he does have the golden mineral fields over here too. He does have the rich Vespian geyser, so this is about an extra, like, what? Maybe 7 workers or so? Compared to the expansion right here that Clem has. It is not terrible. Yeah, it's pretty terrible. No, never mind. It is about as bad as it's going to be, but I think Hero might be able to recover if he tries hard enough. So normally, it would be practically impossible for him to get the Storm upgrade done with the next attack that is going to be coming across. So that's why I'm thinking this might still be holdable for him. Because he denied that Stimpak research, that upgrade is never going to finish in time. He needs that upgrade done before Terran gets across the map. Hero has invested into a 3rd base over here. That one is going to be right in the middle. So at least that's something. This is not a 2-base play though from Clem. That's the thing, right? So Clem is happily continuing onwards with his macro. And if he can't do his preferred timing attack with Stimpak, combat shields, and +1, he can always just do it a little bit later. Like, for example, he could do an attack when he's maxed out. He's a little late on the upgrades. So we do have 1 engineering bay upgrade right now, but I wouldn't mind the other ones started up. I also wouldn't mind seeing him go for, yeah, there we go, maybe even a 2nd NG bay, because he can get away with a lot of stuff at this point. But I think Clem has decided, yeah, since you've sniped my Stimpak research, I can't really attack you. I will do a little bit of scouting, but I will mostly just sit back and build up my ultimate army, and, well, that ultimate army consists of ghosts as well. Very powerful unit here, very good against High Templar. But honestly, I didn't think Hero was going to be able to get to this point in the game. This is still a massive mountain to climb. The main problem is that he's just never gonna... Like, he's behind in every pillar of the game, right? He's behind in upgrades. He's behind in economy, he's behind in army, he's behind in everything. He's gonna need to hit some wonderful storms if he can come back into this. Now, of course, this is a situation as well where the Protoss' army is gonna become a lot more complex. Just a few minutes ago, it was just Stalkers. Now it's High Templar added into the mix. We're getting into the Robo play. 4th Nexus starting up in the natural expansion here of Protoss. Oh, there's a storm. 2 nice storms. Decent splits as well. I mean, that was a good start. I think if we get another 1 dozen or so of those. Feedback right there on the Ghost. Okay. Oh, he loses one of the Templar to the tanks. I love the fact that Clem decided to put those side by side. Look at them. Siege tanks touching... I don't know. Threads? I don't know. Anyways, the siege tanks are holding hands and they're shooting at High Templar together. It really creates a bond. And it allows them to one-shot. Okay. Yeah, I feel like this is one of those games where Clem is he's just cruising. Right? Like, this is him playing Macro Simulator. You know there's those macro trainers in the StarCraft 2 arcade? This kind of feels like one of those. Where it's like the warm-up game of the day, you know? Like, he's so far ahead, but he is just staying in the game, because why bother finishing it earlier? Well, I can give you a couple of reasons as to why you should probably bother, but Clem is not really taking any risks. He's gonna go for some SCVs as well on the wrong side of the mineral field. Okay, fair enough. They're gonna have to take a very long trek around, but they will get to the correct side of the mineral field here eventually. There's +2/+2. +1 air weapons coming up. I mean, are we gonna put down the starports as well? Are we gonna go into... Yeah, we already have a second starport. I was gonna say. Are we gonna go into a second factory? Like, do we just build full Terran mech in the late game with Ghost for support? If we're really playing a macro trainer, maybe that's what we should be aiming for, but you are still going up against the highest ranked Protoss in the world. Fusion core. My god. I think, right, so what's confusing me about this a little bit, I think that Clem could have ended this game when he finished Stimpeg, even when it got delayed like 4 times. Finally, he's coming in for a bit of an attack, but I think he's mostly just opening supply for himself to go into some other units. He actually, okay, he decides to go back into Bio. I was thinking maybe he wants to go into the Liberator transition. Fight over here at the front as well. Hero is making this look rather close. There are a bunch of medevacs inside of the main base. And Hero still has enough stuff. Oh, nice snipe. Hero still has enough stuff to defend against this attack right over here at the front too. Normally this is a map that Terran players really like because of all of the tight choke points. Siege tanks can hit very well, obviously the Ghosts can have easy EMPs, but in this particular instance, Hero is making use of that same map mechanic for his High Templar, right? He knows that the Terran units are going to be very funneled. So if that's the case, well, you don't really need that much stuff. And ultimately, Hero here is growing into a maxed amount of supply. He's now at 73 workers. If we compare the economy that he had, well, I mean, for the majority of this game so far, it's been amazing for Terran, but Hero is starting to climb back. And I think when this next little update comes in, when this base is starting to kick in, I think he should be fine. Now, the main problem though is that Clem is expanding all over the map. Yeah, this is a push that was headed for this base, and he finds an accidental command center at the bottom of the map. Liberators are coming up right now. Advanced Ballistics is researching. So all of this can be traced back to the 4 Hellions that drove into the main base of the Protoss. Tactical nuke! Stop it, Clem! What the... Clem, we don't need to do any of this. Did he not see? Okay, the only thing that would make sense here in my mind is if Clem looked away when those Hellions roasted all the probes in the main base. Like, he obviously was microing them, but there is a chance that he just momentarily went back into the main base, right? And that he, like, queued up maybe a new structure or something, or a new unit or whatever. And that he didn't see that he killed 11 probes with the Hellions. But I would be very surprised if that's the case. Because all of the decisions he's making, it looks like he doesn't realize that he's had a massive advantage for pretty much the entire game. I think this is him also just playing it as safe as he needs to be, though. Oh, don't kill your own siege tanks. We already saw Hero killing one of his own zealots there. Yeah, he's playing this extremely safe. The problem is when you play things extremely safe, sometimes you open yourself up to some vulnerabilities because, well, it's giving Hero a ton of wiggle room. He's now decided to go for another base up north. He's gone into a dark shrine. He's building that, by the way, in the same location as, well, everything else over here. It's a bold play. Okay, a little bit of Widowmine aggression, but the Zealots are finding an angle. Am I crazy if I say that I don't absolutely hate this anymore for Hero? I mean, I still kind of hate it, but I hate it less than I did 10 minutes ago. I still think he's extremely far behind, but if you skip the first 15 minutes of this game, you look at this, you're like, yeah. Looks like a Clem game, but that's not really telling us the full story. Clem is now gonna start taking the bases from the Protoss. Like, this is him being a bit of a thief. He's gonna go into this base that Hero was mining earlier. At the very least, I guess Hero knows that these bases aren't taken on the other side. No, he decides to steal one of the expansions of the Terran. This is the Protoss equivalent of giving the Terran the middle finger over here. You're trying to take my base? I'm gonna take one of yours. Clem has decided to set up shop right now in the far bottom right-hand corner. That makes the game a little awkward for him too. SCV transfer, for example, is easily picked up, but all of these Terran units, if they want to defend at home, they're gonna have to ride all the way back. The Protoss army certainly is more mobile at this point. Liberator count, only 4. Dude, if this is a game that Clem throws, there's no way, right? Nah, there's no way. Nah, there's no way. +3 air coming up. 5 Liberators being produced at a time. So this is the new Clem late game. We make like 3 to 4 starports and we just pump out a lot of libs. And the problem is when Protoss doesn't have the tempo advantage, they can't really go into a Skytoss army themselves. So they can't really counter Liberators with anything other than Stalkers. And Stalkers kinda suck. Like, Stalkers are good, but they're not Liberators level of good, right? Like, it's a very delicate procedure now here for the Protoss. If you give this another minute or so, I think there's gonna be more Liberators than there are Stalkers. And that's not really a fight Protoss can win. So, in my mind, this is basically the slowest tap out ever. Like, this is a Protoss player with an extremely slow death animation. Maybe Clem gets paid by the minute. It's not about tournament wins anymore. It's about sticking in here for as long as possible. Okay. I mean, Hero really is making the best of a very bad situation. There's just no way, right? I love this Liberator positioning over here. Jeez. A full Protoss meat grinder here. Ay, 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 ay. Yeah, you can't leave. Like, you can't. I guess you have mined out your own gold. You can recall the units, fair enough. But now you're gonna recall into the middle of a bunch of Terran units. Clem decided to back off, even though he has more supply here than the Protoss player by about, like, 4-fold. Liberators decide to turn their guns as well. My god, make it stop. Hero, tap out, man. Rip off the band-aid. Stop peeling it slowly. GG. So I just wanted to go back to Clem's first-person view of these Hellions. I'm assuming he had his eyes set on these Hellions when he roasted like 20 of them. You can see that he's still macroing, but he's... Nah, he saw this. He saw this. 100%. So this game is basically over at this point. It is practically impossible for Protoss to come back. And yet it took another 15 minutes. Ay, ay, ay. I guess a lot of it has to do with that Stimpack snipe. Losing Stimpack really slowed a lot of stuff down, and I guess Clem said, yo, if that's the case, I guess I'm gonna take my time. Okay, so now that both players are properly warmed up, we're heading to Oceanborn. Let's see, what can we do this time around? Well, it's one of the tricky parts, I guess, of having your bases entirely disconnected. You have to make sure that you know whether or not the opponent... Like, you have to decide where you want to split up your units, right? So that's the issue you run into in the early game when you have your very first expansion in an entirely different location. Hellions alone turn out to be a very dangerous play. Yeah, I guess actually in the case of Hero, he's not warmed up, he's roasted. At least the probes. And honestly, throughout the entire game, that was Clem playing with his food. Alright, Clem. Are we gonna mix it up at all? Or are we feeling pretty good about the current state of things? Yeah, I don't think we really have to get all too fancy. Double gas to start things off right now for Clem. So we will be seeing a pretty quick factory out of him. Usually this means that he's gonna go for a slightly delayed command center, but we're still fully expecting one of those as well in the next couple of minutes. In the meantime, for Hero, it's a little too early to say. Is he gonna go for a 20 supply Nexus? Yep. Nope. Usually you go 20 supply Cybercore into a 20 supply Nexus. But he's gonna go and continue the pro production here. Delay his expansion just a little while, but have a slightly bigger economy. There was nothing here that was gonna block him anyways, so... He decided to go for... No, he actually made a probe, but then he canceled the probe. Man, he's making this rather complex. Ultimately, what he did was just a 20 supply Cybercore, 20 supply Nexus. But then he first moved the probe down to the low ground, back up to the high ground, queued that up probe, and... Yeah, ultimately, it's the most normal way to start things off right now for the Protoss player. There's indeed the factory. It's only 3 SCVs in gas, so you just get a little bit of additional gas mining initially. Just to get that factory going a little bit faster. Just to get the gas to go into the reactor after that Reaper. But then ultimately you just want to commit most of your minerals, or most of your SCVs to the mineral mining, so you can actually make the command center on the low ground. Okay, so. The Reaper has started a very ambitious play. Oh, and we have a curious build here for Protoss, though. Ooh, okay, so this is him going Stalker into Sentry into Forge. Now that's a bit funky. Are we gonna go Twilight Council at all? Where exactly are we gonna take this? Because the Sentry is great at not dying, right? It's really good at base defense, but also really good for scouting. But it doesn't really deal any damage. What is the Forge for? I guess it's just to get the +1 going. You could use it for photon cannons as well, but that would be kind of a crazy play. That's a super fast +1 upgrade right here from Hero. Okay, he's cooking up something. There's the Robo facility. So he's skipping Twilight play altogether. Clem hasn't seen everything, so he doesn't really know what he's playing against at this point, but he did bring a Cyclone to the front. Now there's already a shield battery finishing. So, yeah, I think you just run it away. Probe being, the Reaper here being a little bit annoying. There it goes. Couple Marines also decide to join in the fray. I think you want to recharge some of your shields. He really wants to get the Cyclone. Nicely done right here by Clem, but... he keeps basically everything alive. Yeah, one Reaper going down. But that's all very acceptable. Cheeky little Widowmine too. If these units decided to chase, but an Hallucinated Phoenix caught it very early on. Okay, so my question is, where are we gonna take this +1 upgrade? Do we line up an attack with it? Because in order to go for an attack, you really do need a Prism at the bare minimum. Do we go into a fast third Nexus? Do we go into a supply block at 54 out of 54? Those are the questions I'm asking myself. Ooh. I mean, what? We brought the Sentry all the way across to force field the main ramp as if we could have fought those units at the front. He didn't get the perfect force field, first and foremost, but he also didn't actually have the units there to fight those units in the first place. This attack was taking place before the ground weapons level 1. Can somebody go check on Hero? Feels like he's... Oh, not again. Not again. Okay. Feels like he's playing at about 60%. Oh, no! Oh, God. Well, somebody recommended these games to me, and I can imagine what they play. Yeah, they must have been a Terran player, because this is the Terran dream. Oh, Clem is bullying Hero. Honestly, though, it's a lot of sloppy mistakes here from Protoss. A lot of it in isolation is very recoverable, but so finally we will have the third Nexus going up, but this is now nearly 6 minutes into the game. We got the +1 ground attacks, but then no push. Like why? Why get the +1 ground attacks here? It's obviously good, but you have like 4 units. Okay, well 9 is the new 4, but it's not really. Like, that's one of the common mistakes you see a lot from lower league players, and obviously Hero is one of the very best, so I don't want to be disrespectful, but it's quite common that I see lower level players just get all the upgrades just because they can. This kind of felt like, I'm just gonna get an upgrade because I can type of opener. It's obviously gonna be helpful later on into the game, but considering the economy took a massive hit, not even taking into consideration losing 6 probes to a Widow Mine, it just... I guess there's a fast Colossus on the back of it, but it's not very fast. I've been liking a lot of the strategies that Hero has been cooking up. I think especially a lot of the strats he's been playing against the very best Zerg players in the world. I think those are really cool, but I'm not really in love with what he's doing here against Terran. So we're going fast sentry. So the sentries are 100 gas each, right? And that's what's making all of this a little bit funky. I'm a bit afraid that if Clem just hits him in the face with a normal timing attack, that Hero's just gonna crumble. Look at this supply count right now. It's gonna go more and more in favor of Terran over the next couple minutes. Third command center is going to finish up right now. This has been a stock standard build right here from Clem. Nothing all too weird. A little bit of variation, I guess, but... that's to be expected. Now, there are Colossi, so that's the only thing, I guess, that can sort of catch the Terran player off guard a little bit. But, like, showing up with a bunch of Colossi for base defense is not very intimidating, you know? Look at Jimmy go. Jimmy doesn't care. Jimmy's going in... okay, Jimmy's going in hard. Okay, finally, he died. Sorry to Timmy. Or Jimmy, rather. Jimmy, Timmy, I mean... all the Terran Marines look the same. Okay, so... can we do something over here? Colossus is quite exposed. It's a Marauder-heavy army, and Marauders are obviously... very good against the Colossi. They don't take bonus damage. Okay. Where do we go from here? What do we do? Why are we... okay. We're putting a probe in the middle of the map mostly for scouting. There's the Ghost Academy. Can he at least destroy this Terran army? Here's the reinforcements coming in. And the numbers are just not there. Like, it's just not enough stuff. Yeah, maybe this is one of those situations where if this would have worked, I would have called Hero brilliant. But now that it's not working at all, it just looks foolish. We're even landing Vikings and lifting up Vikings in the medevac to save them. That's how we're addressing this right now. That is the 4th Colossus going down in a 9-minute game. Like, yeah, we have good upgrades on the Protoss units, but like, not that great. Terran currently also has 1-1. And while 2-2 is just about to finish up, I think by the time 2-2 finishes, there is just no unit available anymore for Hero at all. Yeah, so we rush out upgrades, only to lose the game before the upgrades kick in. Okay then, our final game for today. It takes place on Amphion. What are we gonna do, Mr. Hero? We really have to change something up. Because I don't think experimenting against the world's best Terran is the best thing you can do right now. If I have to take into consideration the previous games, I would imagine that this is also going to be a stomp. Because that's honestly what it's been so far. I get a lot of people reaching out and asking why Protoss isn't winning tournaments. And I do agree that Protoss certainly should be able to win tournaments, but when you see the highest ranked Protoss in the world make super basic errors, like purposefully clumping up probes when you're going up against Hellions, right? Little mistakes like it's not a good look. It is not a good look for Protoss on the whole, man. Hero's doing something again. He's cooking up. He's cooking up something special. We're mining out the skinny mineral fields right outside of the main base over here. Well, I guess it's also right outside of the natural. What are we doing here then, Hero? Okay, we're gonna block off this Reaper location path. A Reaper will be going across the map eventually, but Clem actually has it rallied over here. He's probably gonna check some of the outer locations where commonly we see a cheese coming up. I think Hero is basically just saying, I can't do it. I'm just gonna commit to an all-in now. Cybercore coming up. This has to be a proxy Stargate. I mean, it's real close to the main base of Terran. Clem really hasn't been under any threat so far in this series at all. So... Oh, it's a... What? Proxy Twilight Council here? I guess Gate... No, yeah, Robo here, and then we're just gonna... Okay. Let him cook. Let him cook. It seems like this recipe is starting off with some dish soap. Now he's put in a little bit of olive oil. What are we doing? Are we gonna go Dark Shrine? Yes! It's a Dark Shrine! The man is treating the entire main base, or the map router, as his main base. This has to be DTs. This is gateway, robo facility, Dark Shrine. I mean, if Clem doesn't find it, it's gonna be pretty great. Clem has decided to go for a tech lab over here. If Clem goes for a Raven, he's going Raven, isn't he? Okay, maybe not. There's already a bunker coming up, so he realizes that something's fishy. He's been scouting the natural expansion. Oh, the Reaper has snuck in. No! You had one job, little adept. No! This is brutal. Gateways are done, but the Dark Shrine isn't. The Reaper will die, but his sacrifice has been noted. I think you go Raven now and you win the game. There's already a Viking out, so that's... Oh. Maybe I should put a disclaimer at the very beginning of this video. Don't watch if you're Protoss. What are we doing now? The Prism is dead. Okay, we're gonna use these 4 adepts as glorified guards against the Dark Templar. Raven is just about to be out. We could have a... Yeah, there is a scan. Oh. Well, hey, if you like... Let me put it like this. If you enjoy watching Protoss get stomped, hit the like button. If you don't, hit the like button so they can do better next time. It's a democracy. You vote for like in both situations. Nah, this is an absolute slump. There's a Raven right now too. I think we're gonna see Hero GG out in 3, 2. Oh. I should have kept counting. How? The Prism didn't even die.